All right, I think we should get started. It's 4:02. I will not punish you, those of you who came here on time. Um, Thank you all for coming. I love seeing all the little squares, all the little heads here. Uh, I'm Jen O'Brien, and I'm the Park City Ed Foundation Bright Futures Program Manager. I'm so glad that you've all come because, we have so been looking forward to a chance to thank all of our donors who just made our Live Give experience so successful last week, really in the last several weeks. So, we as staff and on behalf of the board members, we appreciate you so much for supporting this program and for supporting our students in such a big way. And today is really all about letting our students express their gratitude and give them a chance to let you know what impact your donation is having on them and on their families. So thank you. We are full of gratitude with a capital G. And I will go through some details and then move right on to the students who are the topic of the day. Housekeeping rules, the meeting is being recorded, and feel free to submit questions or comments using the chat down below on your screen. We will save some time at the end for questions and discussion. So, but if you have something you feel is timely, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll do my best to monitor. There are some new faces here, to me at least, so I think it's worth giving some context before we begin that Bright Futures is a program of the Park City Education Foundation. Utah has the lowest educational funding in the country, and 96% of Park City's state education tax dollars go to other districts. So that's why, as a mom with 2 kids, to me, that's just really why Park City Ed Foundation and its donors and volunteers are so critical to this community. So the Ed Foundation brings resources into the classrooms through 8 key programs, and Bright Futures is one of those 8 programs. So that's why we're here today. We're grateful for Park City Ed Foundation. At Bright Futures, our mission is to help academically motivated first-generation students get to and through college. We start working with kids in the summer before 10th grade. So it's a long-term commitment we're making to the students and a long-term commitment they're making to us. The program is founded on 3 key pillars. The first is a college and career readiness programming. We have a carefully developed curriculum that we deliver through after school, weekend, and even summer programming. The second pillar is financial support in the form of scholarships and need-based assistance. And the third pillar, I think perhaps the most important, we'll hear if the students agree or not, is a one-on-one mentorship, support, love, care, etc., from a Bright Futures coach. And beyond that, from Bright Futures volunteers and advisory board members. That one-on-one feeling of we're here for you, we got your back, is really a powerful part of how this program works. I'd love to talk about more because I love this program. I'd love to give you details, but today's about the students. So I'm just going to end by sharing a few numbers that give you an idea of how we're doing. In just 6 years, we're now supporting more than 100 students in this program. Yay! 48 of our students, thank you, Franklin, I need the applause there. 48 of our students are currently in college, and that group has collectively achieved a 91% student retention rate. So that means 91% of our college kids are on track, progressing towards graduation. It really makes us smile. These last few years have been especially challenging for college kids, and nationally, only 11% of first-gen kids who go to college will graduate with a degree in 6 years. So that's the benchmark. We're really pleased with the 91%. It really shows that our students are thriving. The program is working, and we are grateful for your support. So with that, let me let you know who else is on the call. Kara, I think if you take the slide down, it'd be good to see the staff faces, and then I'll hand the mic to Rebecca. So here we have today, Kara, is your screen on? Yeah, Kara Cody. Oh, actually, let me start with Abby, then Carol, go in order, okay? Abby McNulty is the Executive Director of the Park City Education Foundation. Hi, Abby. Kara Cody is the program director at Park City Ed Foundation. So she's kind of the backbone to all of those 8 programs I talked about and does provide a lot of support and guidance to Bright Futures. So we're grateful for you, Kara. Nikki Blumen is our year 12 and college coach. And if you haven't heard Nikki's name or seen her face, you are definitely new to the program because every single student talks about Nikki and the impact she makes. So hi, Nikki. And then Rebecca, I'm going to pass the mic to Rebecca Gonzalez, who put in, I guess the blood, sweat, and tears at the very beginning to get this program up and running. And she still helps us with community and family outreach when she's not busy with this other job she has, which is teaching at Ecker. So take it away, Rebecca.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon, evening. We're really grateful for your time. And again, we're grateful for your support to the Park City Education Foundation and to the Bright Futures program. So with that, we have our 2 students. We have Vicente Flores. Vicente, if you just want to wave your hand to the crowd. And we have Melissa Cruz. I'm sure you guys have probably seen some pictures of our students on the Park City Ed Foundation newsletter. If not, they are students who are part of Bright Futures, and they will be speaking to you about their journey. So Vicente, can you introduce yourself and let everyone know what you're studying, what year you're in college, and what college you're at?
Like Rebecca just mentioned, my name is Vicente Flores, and right now I'm studying mechanical engineering, and it's my 2nd year at the University of Utah. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Melissa, what about you?
I'm Melissa. I'm currently in my 3rd year of college in Utah Valley University, and I'm going into nursing and recently considered a minor in business.
Awesome. So both of these students are in college, and Melissa is actually one of our first students who is in the cohort of the class of 2019. So Melissa, you were the first one that went through our high school programming and now college programming. Can you share with us how Bright Futures has been able to support you in achieving your high school and college dreams?
Yeah, so first of all, I had no idea, I knew what college was, but I never knew the whole process to get there. And I don't think if I hadn't been in Bright Futures, I would have known how to get the scholarship or get the right information of how I can get so much help. And there's so much help out there that I didn't even know of, but I learned that there was help because of Bright Futures.
Do you remember, Melissa, when you were in high school and you told me, oh, I'm not going to go to college. College is way far off my reach. And I'm just so happy to see where you're at. Can you tell us a little bit about the internship opportunity that you are now participating through your support of Bright Futures?
Yeah, so I started with volunteering at People's Health Clinic here in Park City in June, mid-June. And I've been going weekly. In the summer, I would go 3 or 4 days from 8 to 4. But then when school started, I've been going 2 days a week from 8 to 4 as well. But on the days I don't have class. And I've been working with Rebecca's sister, Dahlia. And I've gotten to meet all the providers and see the actual work that you can do as a health provider. And I considered switching my major from nursing to public health because I liked everything that I was seeing. And I got to learn more of what the health related fields are like. And I recently got a job offer for this January. So I've been volunteering and we'll start working with them soon.
Awesome. Congratulations, Melissa. We're so proud of you. We know that's a huge step in your career. And I know that your family is super proud of you, and we're so proud of you. So thank you for sharing that update. Yes, everyone's clapping for you. Vicente, now I want to pass over some time to you because I know that, you and I connected really closely. Your mom is a single mom, and you are, her pride and joy, and she worked really closely with you and was pressuring you to go to college, right? And so can you tell us how your college journey came about and how your mom has felt about having Bright Future supporting you.
Yeah, so very similar to Melissa. And I had the thought about college. I was like, oh, I want to go to college. But once Bright Futures, came into play during 10th grade, that's when they literally, or Bright Futures literally built the path that like I'm on right now. Like I feel like I wouldn't be here right now or like in this college because of Bright Futures. They were the ones that were like, okay, you need to make sure you fill out all these applications, go to these tours, like these campus tours to make sure do I like this college? Do I like a smaller one? Do I like a bigger one? So I feel like Bright Futures really played a big part of why I'm here at the U right now.
Awesome. We're really happy to support you. And I'm glad that you took advantage of those college trips because they do play a key role. And can you tell us, how does your mom feel about you being in college right now?
Oh, she's really proud, and I feel like she's really, grateful that that Park City High School had a program like Bright Futures, because I mean nobody in my family, like most of us don't have somebody to ask like, oh, what's the process to do all that? And like I feel like that also just took a burden off my mom with having Bright Futures there to be the one to support me and get me to this point I'm at right now. So like I know in her mind she's super grateful that I joined the Bright Futures program, and the people that work with Bright Futures and are in Bright Futures, she's really grateful towards like people like Rebecca, Nikki, Jen, everybody that's helped us. I know she's really grateful that they were there for me.
Awesome. And this question is for both of you. How has the financial support been? Because we know that, as first generation college students, we have a lot of responsibilities to help our families. And, it's hard sometimes to even navigate how to apply for federal financial aid. We're in a state where, we have to compete with other students to get local scholarships. So how was your path into terms of paying for college like?
So one thing for me is I guess that like the laptop I'm using right now, with through Bright Futures, they were able to provide me with a really good laptop. It wasn't cheap. And, I'm really grateful for that just because it's what I use every single day. And the career that I'm studying for, which is mechanical engineering, it's a lot of coding and a lot of stuff on the computer. So Bright Futures really supported me with giving me the funds to be able to get a tool that's going to help me for the next 4 years and possibly even more.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's super key. I think a lot of us in our Zoom calls sometimes take our computers for granted, right? It's a huge privilege to have a computer to be able to do your work. I remember being in that same situation because in Park City High School, for those of you that don't know, all students have the ability to use the computer, but once they graduate, they have to return that computer back. And so we've been able to help a lot of students like Vicente through donations and through word of mouth, have students get access to computers to be able to do their college assignments, their work. Melissa, what about you?
For me, FAFSA was super confusing. I had no idea how to start. So Bright Futures, they helped me first of all fill out the application and get help from them. And then something I always remember is once it opens is when I turn in my application, because they would always tell us the sooner you apply, the more you'll get. So I was always trying to get on top of that. And then with the scholarships that Bright Futures provided, it allowed me to focus on school and not have to get a job. So I could completely put my mind on my career and not be worried about not being able to pay for school.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. Yes, that's a huge support. And I just want to clarify, the Bright Future Scholarship supports all students, all 4 years of college. So it's it's a scholarship that they have to maintain with certain GPAs, with certain requirements. And if they meet all those requirements, they get that scholarship that goes towards their tuition or housing needs. So we're really excited. And Vicente, you live on campus, correct?
Yes, yeah, I do.
How has living on campus been for you? Because, I know it's been probably hard leaving your mom, but can you tell
Yeah.
us, like, you having that college experience, how that's been life-changing for you?
I mean, I'm able to, it's very different, because at home I had, my mom, she'd cook all the time. So now I like actually have to be a responsible adult, and do all these things on my own. But I've really enjoyed it just because I'm able to have, like with my roommates, it's people I wouldn't really hang out with, but with the ability to live on campus, I'm like forced, I guess forced to be with them. But at the same time, I'm able to meet new people. And being out here, I guess living on campus, I feel a lot more free. I guess I have a lot more freedom than I would back at home, which is one thing that's very different if I were to be living at home rather than on campus. And I don't know, I just really appreciate that, or I like that feeling of freedom being out here just because it makes me, um, I feel like, sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but,
You're okay. I'll
um,
help you. Because I liked how you talked about your friends, right? And meeting new friends. Can you talk a little bit about the cruise model? How has it been seeing yourself around other Park City first generation college students on campus? Because you're not the only one there, right? So
yeah.
have you ran into a few students? How has the crew model of Bright Futures supported you through your
Oh,
college
it,
journey?
it definitely has, just because, since I'm not the only one from Bright Futures that's here at the U, I feel like it made it easier to get myself out there just because I knew I had a couple friends that were in my crew, from Bright Futures. So I feel like if I went to a college where I didn't have, none of my crew members, I guess, I feel a lot more like anxious and uncomfortable to get myself out there. But since I have a couple of my friends from Bright Futures that came to the U as well, I feel a lot better and more comfortable being on campus and just be allowed to explore.
Awesome. I don't see as many questions on the group chat, but feel free, audience, who are tuned in, to drop some questions or turn on your mic, and we're happy to make this an opportunity to have a discussion. Again, this is a visit, right? And it's a thank you to everyone because we're so grateful for the support. Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about how it's been for you being a commuter student?
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of different than Vicente because none of my friends went to UVU. And most of my friends at the time, like my high school friends, wanted me to go with them to a different school because they said they wanted us to be free and like to go out, have fun with like no parents to be telling us what time or like what time we had to be home or what we had to do. But I don't know, I had a feeling that it wasn't gonna work out, so I decided to stay home. I live in Camas and I go to the UVU Wasatch campus, so it's like 15 minutes away. And I none of my friends went there, so I had to like meet new people. Like I was kind of forced to put myself out there. And in high school, I was more of like that shy person. Like if you talk to me, like I'll be your friend, but I won't talk to you, like just to talk. So in college, I was like, okay, you have to pretend to be social at least till you get a friend. And I ended up like meeting a few girls there who I like became really close to. So I was really glad I got to meet new people that had like the same goals that I did.
Awesome. And commuting for you wasn't a big issue. So we're happy that you were able to make that work with your schedule, and your family was super supportive. Do we have anyone that wants to ask a question, wants to learn a little bit more about the Bright Futures program? Okay, I think, oh, did we lose her? Oh yeah, Jill.
Yes.
Jill,
Hi.
hi.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories. A lot of it resonates with me. I was actually a first generation college student myself, and I did not have a Bright Futures program. So it's so great to hear. It actually had me kind of tear up a little bit listening to you guys. I'm curious, if there's one thing you could think of that you think we should add to Bright Futures, to that experience for future people, what would that be? Like I know it sounds like a wonderful program. What's the one thing that you think could be added that would either help you or help future students?
Thank you for your question. Great question, by the way.
I think it's kind of hard to answer that because I feel like all of the resources that I've had so far have been really, really helpful. Like even things I wouldn't expect a program like this to help me out with, like the care packs that we'd receive like mid-semester or like before finals, we'd get these small bags with like kind of like as a support system, like you've got this, and they have like little gifts like tea or like granola bars, like things you wouldn't ask for but are like so grateful for. Like if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but yeah, I think everything that I've received from Bright Futures has helped me in one way or another.
Vicente, what about you?
For me, I'm on the same boat as Melissa, just because before Bright Futures, like I felt like I didn't have, any like no support. So after joining Bright Futures, it's kind of like I had nothing, and Bright Futures just gave me all these different resources that I could use to my advantage. So that's why I feel like right now, even though it's like, Bright Futures was new when Melissa and I joined, it did a really great job with, they really thought about all the different ways it could help us, what we could have trouble with, and how Melissa just mentioned with the care packages, all of that. Like I would never expect that, but I'm super grateful that, they thought about, oh, these students might need these certain things, so we'll make sure to deliver it to them.
Great, thank you. Oh, we have a question. Yes.
Yeah, this is Hugh. Sorry, I'm outside in the outdoor mall.
No
So
worries.
Vicente and Melissa, look back for me into the people who are following you. Help me understand the size of the need. What's behind you? How big is the wave of people who find themselves in the situation you were in 3 or 4 years ago? And then I have a follow-on question.
Do you understand the question, Vicente and Melissa?
No, could you repeat the question?
Okay, so the question was, how big is the wave? How many of us, first generation, I myself am a first gen as well, how many of us are there in Park City? Is there a long, because you guys are so in tune with the community and you guys know the needs that there are in Park City. So how do you see the wave of first generation college students? Do you feel like there's more coming, that there's less, that there's fewer? What do you feel?
I feel like there's definitely a lot more, just because we're not like like a couple years back, like the Latino population in Park City has risen a lot. And like in my neighborhood, I see, Latino kids all the time. And I feel like, as Park City grows, the Latino community is going to keep growing as well. And there's just going to be a lot more students that are going to be needing, the help that Melissa and I received, So I feel like there's going to be, a lot more first generation students and people like Melissa and I who are going to need that support, and just to get to the point that we're at, if that's what, they hope to achieve.
And Hugh, great question. I just want to clarify too that, I'm in school, that the Bright Futures program supports all students of the Park City School District. So the majority of our students are Latino, but we also have some Filipino students, and we have our doors open to all students.
Adding to what Vicente said, I think first gen Latino students are like never gonna end, but I definitely think that there's gonna be a lot fewer first gen once like the class I graduated with and Vicente start having kids, because like they'll have us, but I think there's always gonna be those first gen kids.
Well, can I follow on with the question? So I got to believe that there were people that were your peers who might have had the same opportunity you had, but didn't take it. So maybe I'm interested. Do you think you were lucky or smart? And whatever that answer is, how do you then turn that into reaching to other youth and encouraging them to take the opportunities that are presented to them?
I personally think that we were just smarter about it. Like I have a lot of friends who are like married and was like getting their second child now, and I'm like still living with my parents, but I'm working for a better future for myself. So when the time comes where I do have like a partner or kids, I'm financially stable. I have a job. Like I'm not depending on anyone.
I agree with Melissa too that I was, smart about it. Because when I first started Bright Futures, I had a couple friends, that were in Bright Futures with me, but they eventually, they decided they didn't want to be part of the program. And I was like, I tried to encourage them to stay with it, but it was their personal choice to not keep going through with it. And, I didn't really like ask her too much about why, but, I feel like I had good reasoning at the time to stay with Bright Futures and not, follow along just because, they were doing it. So that's my view on it.
Thank you both. Good answers. I appreciate the insight.
And if I can just jump in, as the college coach, the college students are role models and they're out and about, and we're using them in all of our leadership academies, helping to educate the next groups. And many of their siblings are in our program. So we're really proud of the track record that we've set, but we know that the wave is going to continue and it is getting bigger and bigger. Our last class was the biggest one we educated through Summer Academy last summer. And we're really proud of all of our students. But like Vicente and Melissa said, a lot of their friends are doing other things and they may just have jobs, but they're looking toward that degree and having careers, and then not only helping themselves, but then giving back to their families and their community. And they do that while they're in school because they're doing a lot of community service. And we're really fortunate to have such a great group of role models.
Thank you, Nikki, for being their college coach and for supporting them through their college journey. We are at 1 minute, but we can go as long as you guys want, but I want to be respectful for those of you that have to log off. Feel free to do so. It's 4:30, but if you guys want to stay and just ask a few more questions, feel free to just turn on your mic and we can have a conversation.
Can I add like one more thing that I guess I'm really grateful for from Bright Futures and all the donors. Bright Futures has really impacted my family in the way that they got me to college. And since I'm the youngest sibling out of 4, my older siblings saw as they saw me reaching this point that they unfortunately couldn't. I feel like they have become motivated, and like recently they've gone back to like get their GEDs, and I feel like they did that because they saw me, they were like, oh, like he's going to college, like it's nothing we never did. So I feel like that me getting to this point has motivated them to go back and at least get their GEDs, which I'm really happy that they did that. So I'm really thankful that Bright Futures didn't just impact my education, but did kind of like a domino effect to my older siblings, which I'm really grateful for.
Thank you for sharing that, Vicente. Yeah, it's so true. I even hear parents, right? They're going back to getting their GED in Spanish as well, because we're really creating this urge, right? That education is our ticket out of certain situations that we didn't like growing up. And with education, we're going to be able to provide so many opportunities for ourselves and for our families and for generations to come. So thank you for sharing that, Vicente. Melissa, is there anything that you want to share for closing, or any thoughts pending?
Since Vicente like kind of shared about his family, something for me that I'll like always remember was my senior year. We did a lot of like campus tours, and on one of them, you guys said your parents are allowed to come, and no parents showed up except my dad. And he was like so excited, and we were at campus, and then when we were coming back home, like on the bus, he was like, do you think I'm too old to start school again? Because he was like so excited with like the whole college kind of vibe, like they would talk about they would talk to us about like classes or about like food plans and stuff. So he kind of got excited about it. And then for me, I'm the oldest. Vicente's the youngest. I'm the oldest. So for me, there's no option. I have two younger sisters that I have to set an example for. So I would hate to like have them know that I went to college and then just like gave up. So there's no going back.
Thank you, Melissa, for sharing. I surely remember that moment, like if it was yesterday with your dad and eating on the campus dinner floor. So we're really happy that you were able to share that with everyone. Well, with that, I would like to conclude this virtual visit. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We look forward for more of these opportunities for us to connect and hear from other students. Feel free to connect with us through email if you have any questions, and we'll stay connected. Thank you so much for everyone supporting Bright Futures.
And thank you all for coming.
Thank
Vicente
you very
and Melissa, thank you so much. It's always wonderful to hear your stories.